Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. Hang on here a second. We'll get the screen share going on. Okay. So yesterday, um, after we buttoned up the room, because my delivery showed up a little bit early, the market ended up putting in a decent rally for the morning session. You'll remember we had that big move lower, then a big counter move up, and that was pretty much the day. You can see the afternoon very, very quiet. The overnight, however, was a totally different story. Look at that monster move in the overnight session. This, of course, the NASDAQ, the Eagle trend trader on the NASDAQ. And so we've got a rather substantial opening gap just above us. But like I said, the market just opened up, so we're going to give them a few minutes here to settle in, and then we will take a look at what's going on. So like I say, right now, we're certainly a little bit more bearish than bullish. I'm a little bit hesitant to get too aggressive on the short. So I think we'll just give them a moment here to settle in. And then we'll take a look at perhaps taking a trade. We've got a rather substantial, like I said, substantial gap to the upside. And we'll see if they try to do anything to get into that gap. Right now, however, it's a fairly quiet start to the morning. You can see the Hawk microscalper, a lot of yellow bars printing at more or less the same price level. Our filter all over the place. Likewise here with the Raptor. A lot of yellow bars starting to crop up. Our trading bands starting to twist up, very much like a rope. And we're kind of testing the top end of the morning trading range right now. You can see here, just as it's tailing off of the Geiger counter, there was some selling, or pardon me, buying going on. But so far the result, not that great. Let's see here. Michael's asking, was it a news-based move that caused the downside move last night? Let me see, when did that slide actually start? Oh, it started right out of the London Open. You know, there was a report. There was a retail sales report that was pre-market, but it doesn't look like that has a whole lot of effect on what's going on. The news is tricky. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think that the news drives the market, when in actual fact it's the opposite. The market drives the news. So if there's a big move, reporters who tend to see the world through a news filter, right? They interpret everything they see as a news event. There must be a cause and effect relationship. So they'll see a big move in the market and they'll go scurry about and say, oh, well, the market moved because this and that happened. And yes, many times there is that cause and effect relationship, but not always. What I want to point out here is, you know, we've been watching the NASDAQ here for a while, and I reference a daily chart from time to time just so we have an idea where we're at, because there is sometimes a problem among traders to become too myopic. You get so focused on, I get people sending me charts, and they'll send me a chart, and it will be like the last 3 or 4 bars. This is how they have their screens, right? It's everything is condensed properly, but this is how they're trying to trade. It'll look like this, and they'll ask me a question like, well, why didn't such and such a signal work out? And and what they're doing is they're stacking their charts vertically. So they'll have like a NASDAQ chart, they'll have a crude oil chart, then they'll have whatever, the E-mini and gold, and they're trying to cram 5 or 6 charts onto their monitor, and the only way they can do it is to make them very thin like this, very vertical. And you can't interpret anything like that, right? You have to have some context. That's why I'll look at the daily chart from time to time to give us a better perspective of where we're at. Now, the interesting thing with the daily chart, I pointed this out the other day, is when you have big bars, there should be above average volume associated with it, right? Because it's a big move. There was a lot of selling going on here, so there should be a lot of volume. Likewise, when you see big buying bars, it should be above average volume on the buy. Well, look at what's happening here. We're getting some rather small bars, but with very big volume, and that should make you sit up and take notice. This is telling you something. Not quite sure what it is just yet. It very often leads to a reversal. When you see that kind of thing, when you see these tiny little bars and big volume associated with it, very often it will lead to a reverse. I'm not saying, you know, it's going to be a monster reverse, but a move back to 7,000 looks like it would not be unreasonable. Overall, the Nasdaq's going to keep going higher. It's been going higher for forever. It has every reason to continue to go higher. But yeah, watch what it's when you're checking the news. I know some traders, they'll have the news on in the background and they'll be listening to the talking heads, trying to figure out, is the market going higher, is the market going lower? We really don't care so much about the news because the news is made to fit what goes on in the marketplace. James says it's like the European markets aren't doing well and they think we shouldn't be doing well either. Not so loud, James. You don't want to be tempting fate now. Yeah, Ray says, I'm waiting too. We're sideways. He says, I'm waiting. We just saw a little bit of a breakout now. If we kind of call that, kind of looks like a little bit of a breakout of the sideways range. You may draw your range a little bit bigger, but at any rate, it looks like we still have something resembling a breakout from the trading range. So we'll see whether we get a buying opportunity from this. It would not be unusual to see the North American Open reverse against a big overnight trend. Oh, I see. Yeah, James says they drive it down overnight. The FDAX got hammered. So, yeah, that could trickle over into the North American stocks for sure. I know of one trader who used to watch the DAX, which is the European equivalent of the S&P, and he thought it actually led the North American markets. So he would keep a close eye on the DAX, and if he saw the DAX starting to trend higher or lower, he had a few seconds, 10, 20 seconds to anticipate a move in the North American markets. Didn't always work that way, but it worked out that way often enough for him to have some confidence in it. All right, so we're still kind of back and forth here. There was a fairly strong move to start. Well, strong move. I mean, this last move. That was a fairly ambitious break by the buyers, and it looks like are the sellers gonna follow through, or are the buyers gonna take it back? Okay, looks like we're going to get or we should have produced a early cloud crossover. They're now the proper cloud crossover signal, and I'm going to hurry and get my order in anticipation of that trend possibly continuing. It's a little bit of a, what time is it? Ooh, I'm gonna, oh, I, just as I was about to jump out of that trade, because it's at quarter to the hour, my least favorite time of the day to trade. Oh, it looks like it would have worked out all right. And yeah, we got down here to the next support line, and now we're just kind of flinching a little bit. Yeah, James says double bottom. I'm wondering the same thing. I'm thinking maybe. Here, we'll take a look here at the Eagle. It'll show it a little bit more clearly. We're back down now to a fairly important price level. This is, of course, where the market stopped that rather quick decline. The overnight took a couple, 3 hours to develop. So we're either going to continue within the sideways trading range now, or we should see a bearish break and retest, in which case it's going to be a full-on bear day. The Falcon now, oh, and the Raptor now with a reversal, not a proper number 2 signal, because we haven't seen the retest, but the Raptor getting a little bit more ambitious here on the buy. And we're going to get a trend change signal here in the Falcon. So for those of you thinking, okay, these support zones are going to hold, we have ourselves a little bit of a double bottom type formation, you can be on the lookout now for a possible buy signal. This will be interesting because the buyers tried to rally the market up, sellers brought it back down. Oh, the trend line has flipped over, so that's kind of negates that signal. All right, we're kind of bouncing around a bit. Yesterday they fooled me with that sideways formation, made me think there was a reverse coming, and then they fell off. Here now, number 2 signal. We'll see if we get a second push on that one. Come on, back off just a little for me. There we go. gonna go. All right. I'm gonna try to stretch this trade out a little bit. It's early. We'll see whether or not they try to recover to the high of the day. Might be a little bit too ambitious, but we'll see. First, of course, they got to get going my direction. Okay, so we got a follow-up number 2 signal. Trying to ride out this first swing. We've encountered the hard edge. Of course, that's where we anticipate some sort of reaction around the hard edge of the trading band. Now, if I can get one more swing higher, I can start to look at adjusting my stops, or I'll bring my break-even trigger in a little bit. Oh, come on, you guys. See if that support zone will hold the market up this time, or if it's going to go back to the trend, which, this is always the problem with the counter trend trade, is overcoming or trying to overcome the trend. Nope, stinkers. I'm not going to give it. Oh, are they going to give it to me? It's not looking very promising right now. And as I've mentioned before, my worst trades always tend to be the counter trend trades. Unfortunately for me, my trades are recorded for everyone to see. If you make an error, nobody has to know about it. Well, it just seems like I can't help but set myself behind the 8 ball to start the day. Yesterday I was too early too. Well, I'm glad I only tried that reverse with a single contract. And yet here they come again. I'm still not convinced I was on the wrong side of that position. Rather, I was in perhaps a little bit too early. We're getting a little bit of a very extended 2-3-2 type setup now. See, this block of selling went through. That's what did me in. Price is trickling just low enough to find my sell order. Or my exit order, I should say. All right. Now one of these discretionary follow-up signals to the short side. Oh, and that coincided nicely with a macro pullback slash kind of 4-arrow consolidation on the hawk and a trend line change signal and a late filter entry here on the Falcon. So at the moment, things still appearing a little bit more bearish. All right, well, I think that pretty much confirms that the sellers are running the market. So if you're looking for another chance to get in, the problem isn't so much finding a spot to get in. Here's a macro pullback. Here now, one of our, what we refer to as discretionary signals. The problem is not finding where to get in. The problem will be, where do I cover the trade? Ideally, we want to be 2 swings back, which is going to put us up there. Trade manager says, nope, sorry, Eric, that one's a little bit out of reach. So perhaps I can do a second push entry. I can see when and if the market flinches, and then use that bar as my signal bar. Okay, so this bar now could be my signal bar, and what that does is it allows me, no, even that one's out of reach. It allows me to get by with a slightly tighter stop. Yeah, Mark says, wow, today must be Correction Wednesday. No kidding. I know it's frustrating, but there's nothing wrong with missing a move. It happens. Hey, nicely done, Mark. Mark says picked up a couple of dollars on that late filter entry in the Falcon. Things starting to drift a little sideways again. Our trading band getting a little bit broad does open up the possibility of a move back here toward the hard edge around the 73.70 zone. Look at how many zones we've come down here on our Raptor. Oh, come on here, come on. My chart's bogging down a little bit. All right, so let's see if we get a little bit of a bounce here off of the hard edge. And then another reverse that will give us a 232 type setup, which is going to make for a more predictable buy than what I attempted earlier. The hawk, by the way, already bullish. So there's an opportunity here in the hawk for a reverse. It's a first micro macro cross higher. The Falcon already producing a trend change signal. Well, yeah, James says it's so tempting to get in again every time it goes down, but it's getting a little overdone. I think a few traders are starting to think that way. And you can see I'm kind of anticipating a little bit of a reverse here as well. and then we'll really see the battle between the buyers and the sellers and who will take control here today. This is what happened yesterday too, though. The market made a strong move lower only to turn and recover and make a strong move higher. Look at it goes, the volume comes through in blocks, all these big trading blocks, and then it falls off, it fizzles. See here on the Geiger counter? Massive amounts of buying and selling, and then it just fizzles away. Now, is the Raptor going to give me that second opportunity? Oh, here they go. Okay, so now here's the hard edge bounce. This is actually going to be a number 3 signal. May not print as a number 3 because our trading band is slightly out of sync here, but visually you can see it's still a number 3. This opens up the opportunity for a possible confirmation of the reversal, that 232 that we kind of look for. So we'll see if they come back with another buy signal. It's actually not where I wanted my stops to go, but we'll that number 3 signal printing as a number 1 because the clouds got a little bit out of sync and now they're back in sync after that pullback. So that's resulting in a number 1 signal. The Geiger counter getting a little bit stronger. Kind of opens up the opportunity for a buy. Okay, there now is the second number 2 signal. So I'm going to punch into that with a buy. Now notice it did not print as a number 2 signal. But what are the 2 components that we need for a number 2 signal? First, we have to have something resembling a trend because it's a counter trend signal that we're doing, right? So there has to be a trend. Then there needs to be a retest of that trend. So here we're retesting the lows and then evidence that the trend is no longer going to continue. Namely, we're going to produce a buy signal. The reason the number 2 signal here did not print with the signal prompt is this signal is too far removed from the low. It's falling outside the programming parameters. That does not negate the signal, however. This is why it's to your advantage to learn how to spot these as well. Okay, come on, get up there. So we're just at the top end now of this little itty bitty swing. We'll see whether or not they can get through there, in which case it's very likely that we will see a retrace back here to 73.66. How's the hawk trade doing? Oh, it's hanging in there. Not sure I want to turn the ATR on just yet. And if we can push through here, well, then there's a pretty good chance. Like I say, 73.66, very reasonable target. Oh, don't tag me at break even. And 73.85 would also be a reasonable target. But first, we got to get above the hard edge here. The hard edge really giving me some grief. Come on, buyers. So another bounce here now off the hard edge, stopping me out of that trade. Now it's going to be very important that we see the buyers continue to buy. There'll probably be some buying here on a trend line. Otherwise, there's a danger that this little pullback will be nothing more than a great big bear flag. And my hawk trade struggling here a little bit. As we continue to swap signals, I should have just left my profit target, my little scalp target in there. I would have hit it, would have put the money in the bank. But no, Eric's got to try to do the runner. Yeah, look at those. That's selling. Sellers not letting go. Wow. That was craziness. Well, got a little bit back and then gave some back again. Steve says, hope is not a strategy. Yes, how true. The market swings are just a little bit too much for me here today. Okay, now that we're getting a little bit more structure in the market, very nice move though. I was going to say, now that we're getting a little bit more structure in the market, it should be a little bit easier to discern which way it's going. The hawk is all broken up again, so it's very neutral once more here in the hawk. Haven't seen a day like this in a while where we get a move and then it's immediately followed by choppiness. I think it's because there is more aggressive buying coming into the market at this point. You can see here we've produced yet another counter trend signal here from the Raptor, and this one giving us another second push opportunity, which gives us a chance to make the market prove that it's truly ready to reverse before it brings us in. Gotta watch that darn hard edge though. So here we've got yet another little period of consolidation. And you can see how the second push entry, and all that means is we allowed the signal to engage. We see where the market reacts, and then we use that reactionary bar as our signal bar. It's a very good strategy to use when the market is kind of flip-flopping like this. All right. So we continue to trade sideways. When the market trades sideways like this, it starts to um, confirm that a bottom is in. And an easy way to see that is if you connect the dots, not with the highs, but rather with the lows. So let's see if we get another swing here, and it does appear as though the market is starting to swing. Okay, now we can get more aggressive. Here is another number 2 signal. I'm just going to buy into that. I know, counter trend. I warn you guys against the evils of counter trend trading, and here I am getting. Oh, look at that! They're going to spank me again every time. The smarter play would be to wait for the market to actually trade above this last swing high. You see, I'm trying to look like a rock star here. And so the market has a way of humbling. Well, okay. I've dug myself a very nice little hole here this morning. So I'm going to have to get serious about digging myself out. See, had I waited for the market to actually exceed the high of that bar, that was that swing in the Raptor right here, that would have made for a much more predictable buy. But unfortunately, like I said, I was trying to look like a rock star, and well, I paid for it. Oh dear. All right. Well, let's just put that on the shelf for now. Okay, well, what are they doing now? we think? Here's an easy way to make the market head higher. We have a late filter entry signal here, which tends to be a pretty reliable signal. We have had a lot of signals here this morning. Oops, and I just missed that one. I was going to be a bit of a wise guy and say the easy way to make the market head higher is to try to short it. But I can at least show you what that trade should look like. So the late filter entry occurs when the filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. The trend line, however, never changes color. And you're going to find your better late filter entry signals occur when the trend line is relatively flat. See, look at this one. This one went really flat for the longest time. What you don't want to see, however, is a late filter entry followed by a late filter entry followed by a late filter entry. The signals do get stale after a while. Normally, the first one will tend to have the greatest follow through. The second one should be okay. But I start to get a little suspicious around the third one. Oh, Mickey, I'm so sorry. Mickey's asking about any idea when the Facebook request will be reviewed. And sorry, I need to make myself a note here. I know you emailed me about that a while ago. It's not that we don't like you. It's just that it's taken a back seat, and I apologize. There's no excuse. I will look after that later today. And now we're starting to go sideways. This is what tends to happen in a market that's made a big move, either higher or lower. There will be a tendency for the market to kind of hit a sideways trading range. So I don't think we're going to see a major reversal here today. There could be a little bit of a rally, after which there will be another selling opportunity to sell with the trend. All right, what do we think? Are they finally going to try to put in a rally? Yeah, Mark, you're right. Mark says we haven't seen a day like this in a while. Certainly keeps you on your toes. It does at that. We are about an hour into the session. This is traditionally the time where we will see a reversal if a reversal is coming. Um, the cloud's starting to cross. You could see this as an early cloud cross. There's your buy signal. So this is an early number one signal. All right, so it has touched the hash mark, so I'll just engage the order manually. Stops should go below the swing low here. Safer entry would be above that swing high. All right, so hit the first profit target. Okay, I think I can probably enable a trailing stop now. We'll go with the ATR strategy. See, if you wait long enough, you'll eventually be right. Oh man, what a day. Well, at least I'm getting a decent move on this one, and I'm going to try to run it out as far as I can, just to get myself back in the black, which is, well, it's my own fault. It's one thing about trading, you can't really point fingers at anybody. You're the one that makes the final decision. Okay. So a little better timing on that reverse. These, you're going to find when you're trading that certain types of days you do better with. I tend to do better with the slower days, the days where the market is just on a tear, higher or lower. Um, I just seem to have a hard time with. Okay, well, we got the official cloud crossover now. Well, things definitely slowing somewhat from what was going on earlier. We're back now to the hard edge of the trading band, both here on the Eagle and the Raptor. So if the buyers are going to continue this rally, this is really where they got to step it up now. Yeah, we've got more yellow bars creeping in, and well, I was going to say we're kind of retesting the breakout of the trading zone. Slight little reverse here. We know that old support areas or old resistance areas should become support. Maybe if they're going to hold up here. Well, we've lost all our momentum here this morning, and it's probably going to continue to do this kind of stuff. All right, just kind of slowly back and forth here. Yeah, Ray's saying, Eric, look at the range. It should slow something down, I believe. Yeah, it's a tough market today. There's no question about it. I got caught looking the wrong way a couple of times. we're still kind of content there just to keep moving within that sideways trading range. Here now, another with trend signal. You can see we're forming a crossover sell. Is it going to go back toward the lows? I certainly think the lower it gets, the more likely it is that the market is going to bounce, especially given that it's kind of moving so slowly right now. We'll hang in here, see if there's one more buying opportunity. Let's see now, as we're getting down here toward the lows, if we're going to come back with yet another number 2 signal. And probably the better place to buy would be above that swing if we get it. All right, well, things, like I said, have gotten very, very slow. I thought we were going to get one more trade in here. I would be open to the market reversing from where it is now. I know you've seen me try it earlier today, but I would be open to another buy. Oh, there it is. There's the buy. So there's the number 2 signal I was waiting for. And again, you shouldn't have your stops right at that swing low. You should give the trade a little bit extra. Come on, get up there. Let's go. My goodness, but things have gotten slow. Almost painfully slow. All right, got the profit target, got the break even. We'll get the stop strategy going after this swing. I don't want it rolling up too soon. Come on. This trading in slow motion is brutal. No, just very little follow through. Oh well. All right, gang. Well, I guess we'll try it again tomorrow. If you're going to continue trading the rest of today, you can probably anticipate the market to go into a little bit of a sideways trading range. The trend is obviously down. If we see the market trade above this last swing high, however, we're probably going to see a cloud crossover, our number one signal develop, and that may be worth trying. Once the market starts to exceed a previous swing point, a significant swing point, you can usually anticipate two moves in the direction of the breakout. So the breakout itself would be move number one, and then you can be on the alert for move number two. If you want to be more aggressive, well, you can simply look for that next buying opportunity. Oh, looks like we actually had it down here. But there should be another chance to buy into this market. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye for now.